So anyone who is joining us today, we're going to do a live masterclass on Ascension and how to go from stuck to freedom in a matter of minutes. To do this masterclass, you do need to have a pen and paper, so grab that. And I'm going to just quickly go through a little bit of an explanation first about Ascension, because that's quite a new concept for a lot of people. And also there's a lot of stuff out there that, hi guys, oh, you guys are together, hi. So there's a lot of, I don't know, stuff out there about Ascension, and it's really important to actually get this concept right, and especially because a lot of the stuff that we are doing at the moment is all based around like our behaviours. Hi guys, thanks for joining me. Great to see you. Oh, that's so cool. Make sure you've got a pen and paper for us to go into this masterclass. But I just want to just quickly explain a little bit before we get into it, and also allow people to come and join with their pens and paper to do this exercise where we can move from stuck to freedom in just a matter of minutes. Yay! Okay. So I'll just go through a little bit about Ascension. It's funny because a lot of people still don't really know much about Ascension, and I'll just explain a little bit more about what it's about and what's actually happening to us. So pretty much since the 21st of December 2012, the Earth and the universe is starting to shift. So so good to see you. So the Earth and the universe is starting to shift, and what that pretty much means is a lot of technical jargon in there around what's going to actually be happening to the universe and the planet in this process. It isn't never happened before, this shift in vibration and frequency of the planet and the universe, and also this alignment within the universe, if you want to say that we are all shifting into different levels or levels, you want to call it levels, and which a lot of people call dimensions. So I tend to, during the Ascension process, a lot of people talk about levels. The only reason why we talk about levels of Ascension is mainly because a lot of us are still in what we would call the third dimensional mindset. So the only way we can understand it is by talking about it in different levels. But in actual fact, Ascension is all about the same thing happening, it's all happening at the one time, but we're all experiencing different things. And this is why doing this process that we're doing today is going to be so powerful, because what I'm going to be doing is technically you aren't going to be moving anywhere. You're not going to be changing in any way from who you are right now, but by doing this process that I'm going to be doing with you, you're actually going to be shifting your level of consciousness. Now, someone asked me, well, what is consciousness? Is consciousness just thinking? And it's like, well, there's a bit of a process around consciousness, and what consciousness actually means is, well, it's not a meaning. I think it's actually more of an action than anything else. So what is actually happening around consciousness is that consciousness is pretty much awareness. So it's like if you have an awareness of something, then you're shifting into consciousness and then going into what I would call universal wisdom. So I explained on my video yesterday, but I'll go through a little bit more at the moment, is literally on Earth in a third dimension, if you want to call it third dimension. I mean, we are in a third dimension. So pretty much, everything here on this planet it is what it is. So, this pen is a pen. It's got 3 dimensions. So it's got an end, it's got a side, and it's got another end. and everything is what it is, pretty much. We've pretty much, what I've been showing is the whole of this, in this universe. And I've done a bit of work around the universe and the difference between, this is a really good example here of the Ascension process, where we have at one end of the scale, we'll call this a scale. So this is what I would probably describe as different levels, again, because we are in a third dimensional reality. So, so let me just come. So literally these are frequencies and vibrations. So what happens is that these lower ends, again, lower, these all vibrate, and it's just, I mean, there's no good or bad. They are just at a different frequency level. So there's all different frequencies. I've used, again, human analogies around frequencies, and that there's 50, 100, 300, 500, 700, 900, 1,000. So in the third dimension, these are all frequencies that exist in the third dimension. So again, talk about third dimension, pens, whatever. You can see that there, and I've got these people and these lines which explain all the different experiences and the different people who resonate in those frequencies. So if you've ever seen this book, Power versus Force, you'll actually come into page 68 and 69. It explains all the different frequencies through here. This is by David Hawkins. All frequencies in the middle, and it actually explains the characteristics of both. So this is why I want to explain Ascension isn't about being better or worse off. Again, it depends on your belief patterns and mindset around those beliefs. But at the end of the day, when you look at these different levels, again, levels, they're just experiences, and they all have different characteristics. And if you want to check those out, you can jump into David Hawkins' book, and he explains all the different characteristics. That's just in the third dimension. And they pretty much go from the characteristics of shame, guilt, grief, fear, anger, desire, all those kind of what they call low vibration experiences and characteristics, right up through to willingness, acceptance, reason, love, joy, peace, and enlightenment. So check that out. You can just Google that online, David R. Hawkins, Power versus Force. That explains only in the third dimension all the different frequencies that occur, and this is how I've actually drawn those up as frequencies and in different levels. Again, that's how we describe it. But what's happening, and we've been living in this third dimensional reality frequency in this, again, I explain in this universe because there are multiple universes going on. In this universe, we've had this level of third dimensional thinking, reality, all that sort of thing for such a long time. And then from the 21st of December 2012, the energy in the universe and the planet has started to shift. So what that means is that what I want to talk about today is by the vibration and energy on the planet shifting, it's actually shifting us into different realities or different ways of being. Again, that's another word for reality. So what that then means to us is that we can have different experiences on this planet. Before it was struggle, stuck, adversity, because again, with our incarnation, we chose an incarnation on earth to be able to experience one way of living, and we can call it the struggle or the hard incarnation, and that's pretty much what we signed up for when we chose this incarnation. So explaining all the different levels, and I only just found out recently, because I've been shown that in actual fact we as a body, our bodies, ourself, can actually live for 2,000 years, and it's all the belief patterns, it's the like lifestyle, everything else that actually we end up, passing away a lot earlier than what we technically need to, because, or we can extend it now because we've expanded our level of consciousness to be able to have more of an infinite experience here on earth. Then I used to question, well, why do animals animals don't have belief patterns, and they still die after a certain number of years or what have you. And what I was showing is that a lot of animals are actually vibrating frequency and have a consciousness that is a two-dimensional reality. So if I can look at the difference, is that a one-dimensional is like a line. A line is a one-dimensional reality. That's kind of the existence of a one-dimensional reality. Two-dimensional is a point in a line, so it allows a little bit extra experiences, but not a whole lot of experiences for something that is vibrating under a two-dimensional reality. Then going into a third dimension, which is where we are now, where we were before the 21st of December 2012, which is pretty much, you've got point, line, breadth, width, height and volume. And again, that's what I'm showing the pen. As I said, it pretty much is what it is. And if something happens, a lot of the time you are stuck with it. And that's why, especially before the 21st of December 2012, a lot of people were stuck and didn't really know what to do around that. Then since the 21st of December 2012, the energy and the vibration of the planet and the universe has shifted, and it's now allowed for a fourth dimensional reality or an experience to come through. So what does that mean? To break it down really, really simply, the fourth dimensional reality is, if you look at stuck and adversity in the third, the fourth dimension is actually choice, and that's the easiest way to explain the difference between the two. Because in third dimension, whenever you're stuck, you're living in third dimension. Whenever you're going to choice, so you say, okay, I can either be stuck or I can do something else, then that is actually you shifting into a fourth dimensional level of consciousness. Now, when I say consciousness and level, it actually means an expansion of your consciousness. It doesn't actually, again, I don't really like levels, but that's the only way in a third dimensional reality we understand the different levels. With our brains, we've got two different brains going on at the moment. We've got our human brain, which keeps our body working, and then we've got our ethereal brain or our universal brain or our soul brain. They're all kind of connected, which I call universal wisdom, and we have access to that. So in a third dimensional reality, we don't actually have access to that universal mind, and that's where in our third dimensional reality we use our human mind to run the show. Our human mind was only meant to keep us safe because all it knows in the third dimension is this body. So pretty much that's where a lot of depression, anxiety, everything else, and all that negativity mindset comes in, is because that is a pure example of third dimensional mindset, reality, consciousness. That's just what it is. Stepping into fourth dimension, into choice, that's where we technically open up our consciousness, which is awareness, into another possibility. As soon as we do that, and this is what we're going to do in this exercise today, as soon as we shift ourselves from stuck into choice, we literally do shift our level of consciousness, which then gives us a chance to shift into getting out of stuck, which is what we're going to go into today. And then going again into this next level of consciousness, which is the fifth dimensional level of consciousness, is infinite capacity. So the difference between all three, so in the third dimension, we're all separate, we all have our separate experiences, we all perception is massive in third dimension because we all perceive things to be certain ways. Shifting into fourth dimension, again, level of choice, but then fifth is actually all oneness. So we actually understand that we are at one with the universe, at one with each other. So our behaviors with each other will completely be different in that level of consciousness, because we will understand that how we treat others is actually how we're treating ourselves, and also that connection to ourselves as conscious beings, but also with other people, and seeing them as, angels, regardless of their behavior, is another level of fifth dimensional level of consciousness. So again, our behaviors will be very different in that level. So I'm sure most of you are actually here. I mean, I could talk about Ascension all day because I just love this process, and there's so many different characteristics to talk about. But the main one today that we want to talk about is this shifting from third dimension into fifth dimension, because sometimes you guys are like, well, I don't really care about the the characteristics of each. I want to move from where I am. So what we can do is we can get our piece of paper and pen, and if you can do that, and I'd love if you could give me some interaction here as to how you're going, because it'll really help me to advise you as to what to do next. And if you can draw on your piece of paper a box with like 4 different, I don't know what that, what do we call that? 4 different things. Boxes, columns, that's what they're called. Good on you, Kim. Okay. You'll always know when I'm actually working on human consciousness and 4th or 5th dimensional consciousness, because in my human third dimensional consciousness I use words as cool and awesome, and then all of a sudden I'll shift into this infinite wisdom, which is crazy good, and I'll just say stuff that I don't even really understand. Okay, so do this for me, and then at the top we're going to okay, so at the top we're going to write what the issue is. Sorry for my writing. Issue, third dimensional level of consciousness, 4th dimensional level of consciousness, and 5th. Just write that at the top. If I'm going too fast, please tell me. And if you don't understand something, please tell me, because I tend to ramble. So just write down all those things. I'm sure before you joined here today, you had an idea of something that you wanted to shift from this third dimensional reality into the infinite possibilities of what this could be. So what I'm going to get you to do now, once you've done your columns and your headers, is we're going to go in and write in our current issues or our current reality. And you can just, of course, write those here. So I'd love if you can share with me in the Facebook Live maybe a couple of issues that you're working on. Just type it in, and it gives me a bit of an idea of what we're going to be working on, and I can use yours as a bit of an example as well. Because funnily enough, as I go to write in issues, I actually don't have any that I want to work on. That's probably a good place to be. But you know, it's been some work to get here. Anyway, so in your issue box, write down what your issues are. What are things that you want to change? Again, they don't necessarily need to be an issue. You might want to change something around this. And everyone just say, yep, we're done and we're ready to move into our different levels of consciousness, our different dimensions. Anger, Sarah. Fantastic. Sarah, so Sarah's got anger. Sarah, you that's a great thing that you've put down, because that is, an awareness, and this is where we talk about the start of consciousness. Is there has to be an awareness, and the difference between the thinking. Again, as I said, in this body we think. That's what we've kind of been taught to do. Fear and worry for Laurel. Doubt, not good enough. I think that's probably everyone. Doubt, not good enough. Oh, you guys are awesome. Not enough money. These are really great examples that I can use. I'm so glad to have all you guys here. Not good enough and not enough money. Anger as well. Awesome, Matt. That's cool. Okay. You guys are really getting it. So so writing down the things that you don't really want to keep anymore and that you want to shift. As I said, that's what, wait. cool. I like that one. Because me, myself, has actually had really interesting experience around weight and clarity and focus. So the way I deal with stepson's resistance to helping himself and sabotaging himself. So maybe just dealing with others. I'll just put that there. I'll just use those as examples. I won't add any more because my box is full. Fear, yeah, I'm going to put fear. Thanks, Gail. And you can, you guys can like add to this as you go on. Like, well, you pretty much can keep working on this using this system that I've developed. So, well, I say I developed what I received. It's so funny. Okay, so that is the issue. So stepping into the third dimensional reality, what I'm going to get you to write is, you've said, you know, anger, fear, doubt, not good enough, not enough money, weight, you know, all those kind of things. I want you to tell me what that experience is in the third dimension. So in the third dimension, you might describe anger as losing your temper, or you might describe the fear as I'm scared of everything or whatever. So in that third dimension, write down the characteristics, because we're talking characteristics here. So write down the characteristics in the third dimension about, you know, weight might just be feeling really bad. Clarity is lack of clarity. So you might say third dimensional reality are these things. So doubts, you know, just not feeling great. Again, a lot of these things, if you look at all the things that you've given me in this issue, a lot of them are feelings, which is really interesting, which shows me pretty much that and this is why we do get stuck in these experiences. When we get stuck in these experiences, is because our feelings take over. And as a lot of you know, I'm trained in EFT, and that was a really awesome way to help us deal with emotions. But this is even better. I actually used this experience yesterday, and I'll just quickly explain. And I might even use mine as a really good example, because a house that I thought we were going to get, we didn't get. So I immediately went into third dimensional. Nice to see you, sweetie. I literally went into third dimensional reality in in most of yesterday, to be honest. And a lot of people think, oh, you know, I've got it all sorted. But at the end of the day, we're all on this journey. So, okay, fantastic. So beating yourself up is a third dimensional reality. Yeah, pretty much. Avoidance is a good one. So really connect to, you know, where you're at in this third dimensional. So third dimensional reality, when we're looking at this, as you can see, we are technically connecting to an awareness that we have. And that is the first step in consciousness, is the awareness. Now, if I can explain the cycle of consciousness, there always has to be a level of thinking at the beginning of it. So this is where people get thinking, consciousness confused. With thinking is that there's thinking, then there's awareness, and then there's consciousness. And then it keeps going around, because you have consciousness to then bring up awareness, to then bring up thinking, which goes around in this circle. So, and pretty much I did a video on YouTube. If you want to check out my videos on YouTube, I did a video on a download I got about mental illness and depression. And pretty much it's just a theory, and that's how I kind of sharing all this work it's just a theory, because I just receive it. I don't actually know it's true until I use it in my own life. But pretty much the reality of mental illness and depression is all because if someone is stuck in the third dimensional thinking, without access to this fourth or fifth dimensional level of consciousness. So, and this is why I'm really excited to do this with you guys today. Okay, are we ready to move on from third dimension? Yay! We are so ready to move on from third dimension. So if I can just explain too, and this is why it was really interesting to do these download these little diagrams the other day, is when we're moving from third to fourth to fifth, we're actually not leaving the planet. if I just can explain again, and a lot of people were confused about, okay, so what happens with Ascension? And if you look at what Ascension means, I Googled it, I could talk about what that means. Ascension actually means rising to a higher level. Again, that's third dimensional thinking, because in fourth and fifth there are no levels. And I've just quickly explained that back when I could kind of do this work, I used to get psychic readings to tell me what's going to happen in my future. And the lady used to say to me, this was 10 years ago or whatever, you're going to be a big part of Ascension. This is 10 years ago. You're going to be a big part of Ascension. And if you Googled Ascension 10 years ago, can I just tell you that all they talk about in Ascension 10 years ago was dying, because rising to a higher level, ascending, I just thought, oh my God, I'm going to die. Little did I know that this is actually what she was talking about, because back then it didn't exist, because the 21st of December 2012 hadn't existed 10 years ago. Okay, so if I can explain these different levels, like this is all third dimensional, but this is where you vibrate, you'll actually attract experiences, people, places in each resonant vibration. So we don't actually go anywhere, we shift our vibration and only attract, because law of attraction, we'll only attract situations that match our vibration. And that is what this is about, is all these experiences and all these people will actually attract and each other based around where they're resonating in whatever frequency. As we get to fourth and fifth dimensional level of consciousness, it's not that we're going to be going anywhere, but literally all we will be experiencing is people, places and things that vibrate at fourth and fifth dimensional reality, which means that this is where we move from stuck to freedom, because we then attract experiences that allow us to have choice in fourth dimensional reality and allow us to have capacity of infinite receiving and infinite capacity to experience life on earth without limits in that fifth dimension. And that's where we attract more of those by simply having that level of consciousness within us. And then that radiates out. So this is a great way to do it, because we're going from the awareness, which we've just brought up in our third dimensional mindset or level of thinking. We're now going to shift into the fourth dimensional level of thinking or consciousness, which is the level of choice. So getting your pen, I'll stop rambling on, get the back, getting your pen, and I want you to write next to each third dimensional reality, I want you to write down what the choice is. So you can write down what the opposite of it is, because you can either have anger or you can have no anger. You can have doubt or you can have no doubt. Like, so as soon as you write those things down, you can write the opposite. You can write down just the first thing that comes to mind. What is the other choice that I have? So in fourth dimensional reality, in fact, we actually have infinite choices, but for now in this exercise, we will actually just write down one choice, because we've only got one little line for each box. So, and again, when you shift into the fifth dimensional level of consciousness, we play in that infinite capacity. But for now, we're just in this exercise, we're shifting you from third dimensional level of reality into the fourth of choice. So once you've actually got down some of your awarenesses of what choice you have is different to the third dimensional, I want you to give me an idea. Love this topic so much, third and fourth. Me too. Oh my God, I just love it so much. And I'm actually learning more and more each day as we're shifting more into it. So can you guys like just share fourth dimensional reality? So Delana, unconditional love, taking action and appreciation. Yeah, you can see automatically when you shift from I'm stuck in this to looking at another alternative reality or an alternative option, you immediately shift your level of consciousness, you're expanding it. But I don't know if you can feel this when you play in this other energy, you actually feel quite different. And as we know, we're in a feeling universe. So again, when you shift your mindset and reality and consciousness into a fourth dimensional, you actually change your vibration immediately as soon as you go into choice. So this is actually a really fun exercise to do whenever you say, oh no, I'm stuck in this. As soon as you go into, well, I actually have a choice, what happens is your energy shifts immediately, attracting more choice to you. So see how easy and amazing it is to shift from third to fourth level of consciousness. Detachment with the outcome and experimenting on every aspect of life, that's a choice. It certainly is. There's so many choices. So start sharing with me all the choices you have, which is different to your third dimensional reality. Now, when I do this exercise with people one-on-one, we actually play around in the different levels of consciousness, but also with the options in choice. And when we do that, we sometimes find that when we're talking about the opposite, well, we're going into fifth in a minute, Tamara. Hang on, we're just doing fourth now. So Sarah's got release control. So maybe control was a third dimensional reality. The fourth is release control. Well, that's an awesome shift. And you can already see that that's happening. But what I want to bring up, like Sarah's just said, shift control. And that's what I want to bring up is that when we shift from the third to the fourth, when we get into the fourth, our human brain still kicks in and goes, but that's not reality. That's not a current reality. So Michelle, interestingly, I find it easy for the 3 out of the 5, but the other 2 feel icky and forced. Michelle, just share what they are. And as I was just saying, I mean, maybe you can wait till we get to the 5th, because sometimes when we write the second or the fourth dimensional choice, our bodies and our minds aren't with it yet, because it just doesn't make sense, because we're still in third dimensional thinking. But as soon as we go to 5th level or the 5th dimension, we actually do, then it all makes sense. So Michelle, just see how we go when we get to that next, that 5th dimensional. Just connect to your level of choice for now. And even if it doesn't feel good or make sense, it's actually quite natural and quite normal. So other choices: unconditional love for self and clarity, belief and feeling beautiful and prepared. Beautiful, write them down. Releasing all connections, releasing resistance, and letting go of what's not working, with the attitude of what other choice I have. And that's amazing to actually look at all the other choices that we all have. So once you've written and connected with those levels of choices, again, there's no right or wrong here. This is your little exercise that you can play in, and just write down what choices you have for each thing. And you can just write one just for now, and you can keep playing in them a little bit more, and just tell me when you guys are all done. As I said, and like what Michelle's brought up, is that you can write down, I can be stuck with money in third dimension, and then I can be unstuck in fourth dimension, but that still doesn't feel real. You wait till we get to 5th, because it'll make sense then. So it's actually okay to be to still feel no different in the fourth dimension. What we're technically doing in fourth dimension is, and you can skip dimensions once you get used to doing this, but what we're actually doing is we're just opening up and taking baby steps into opening up your level of consciousnness to what else is possible. And just by choosing one little extra choice, we can actually do that. So just write those down in your fourth dimensional level of choice. And just tell me when you're ready to move on to 5th, because that is where the gold is. And just let your mind, letting go of disappointment and realizing I have no control. Sure, absolutely, that's awesome. And yes, we can choose to play in different dimensions. Technically, by moving into fourth dimension and knowing that you can choose is ready for gold. I'm ready for gold too. Oh, I just love fifth dimensional level of reality. So cool. Oh, Jenna, I've just watched back on the replay. But you could probably, let's just assume that you're just meant to listen to this end bit in the fifth dimension, because probably that's where you're playing in. Okay, everyone's ready. Oh, I love you guys. Okay, so we've written down our fourth dimensional level of choice, and I want you to acknowledge the power of this, right? Whenever you're stuck in third dimension, I want you to know as soon as you open your mind, your level of consciousness, into a fourth dimensional level of consciousness, you then will know that as soon as you make a choice and you go, well, I can either choose to stay here or I can choose something different, you automatically shift your vibration and energy. So be really proud of yourself even to get to that point, because I don't know about you guys, but sometimes you can sit in stuck for, well, some forever, but some you can be, I can be in there for a day or so and feel really bad and crappy and then realize that I've got a choice. So it's okay. It's okay to feel that way, and acknowledge it, because again, even beating yourself up over feeling bad or beating yourself up over even not knowing this straight away, and clicking into, fourth dimensional level of choice, like when you beat yourself up, you slip back to third. So it's just like, don't bother. As soon as you're aware, just be grateful for being aware. Again, you can kind of shift your consciousness and awareness and vibration into that next, don't want to call it level, but next experience, which is choice. And when you shift into choice, you will always then be offered choices instead of being stuck. So that already is a big shift in itself. So be really proud of it. And Vidya and I've we've had so much fun over the last few months, and God, it's just beautiful to play in this energy and to play with you guys, because of course we are all vibrating at similar levels, or consciousness. Otherwise we wouldn't be here together. So I need to honor that as well for you guys, is that if you are listening to me and this is resonating with you, you're already in alignment with, as I explained, like you're already shifting, because we're all in alignment. We would not be here together if we weren't vibrating at similar vibrations. And I'm very lucky that these are my clients and these are the people I hang out with, because you're so awesome. Okay, fifth dimensional level of I love you too. Okay. So fifth dimensional level of consciousness, so much love, because of course we vibrate love, which if you go into the book is 500, vibrates at 500 and above, and a lot of people are shifting past 1,000 into the fifth dimensional reality, which is so cool. Okay, Kim, get back on the track, because I could just talk all day. I just love you guys. Okay, so Kim, focus. Fourth dimension choice. What we're going to do is we're going to shift into infinite capacity. So infinite capacity, thanks for that love. You're going to take me off track again. Okay, fifth dimensional level of choice was awesome. Hope you liked playing there. Let's go to fifth dimensional level of just infinite capacity, and what is. So you can see I'm kind of now shifting back into that. When we do shift into fifth dimensional level of consciousness, we do actually access our infinite wisdom, or the universal wisdom, soul wisdom, whatever. So there's actually no thinking in fifth dimensional. So what I'll do, and I'll get you to do when you do this exercise, is there's no thinking involved. I don't want you to think at all. And I also want you to acknowledge the first thing that pops into your mind, and then keep asking yourself questions to go deeper and deeper into the answers that pop up into your head. As soon as you connect to receiving information rather than thinking, and again, if you have trouble with that, just give me a shout out. As soon as you go into receiving rather than thinking, you're already shifted into what I call the computer up there, the infinite wisdom, the universal wisdom, universal mindset, all that sort of thing. So as we go into fifth dimensional, I want you to look at your levels of choice and your levels of stuck in third and fourth. And as we go into fifth, we go into complete oneness. We go into infinite capacity. We go into what else is possible. We go into massive expansiveness and what I would consider truth in this fifth year. So the difference between the fourth and the fifth is in fourth, it's choice. In fifth, it's actually ultimate universal truth. I again can talk about universal truth all day because it's such a passion. But for you guys, I'm just going to get you to play in this energy for a little bit. And when you look at your third and fourth dimensional reality that we're working on, I want you now to shift into what is true, and just ask that question. What is the truth around this? What is the possibilities around this? What is really going on? And the great way to do that, if you want to ever shift into truth and observation, is to look at it from a different angle. Again, that is you looking at it from a fifth dimensional reality. And whatever you're working on, if you can go through your list, I want you to do that for each one of those things. So if you're, this is just something that's popped into my mind, if you're stuck with money in third dimension, you then go into fourth dimensional choice of, I can be stuck or unstuck. Again, you're opening up your consciousness to a little bit more. Everything on your list comes down to pure love, self-love for me in the fifth. Tamara, you got it. Because fifth dimensional is love, like, and that's what everything is based on. So using money as an example, third is stuck in money. Fourth is choice of stuck or not stuck. Fifth ends up coming into, it's actually never about the money. It's about the experience. It's about what the money can be a vehicle for to take me where I want to go and whatever experience I want to have. This is the bigger picture that we're really working on. Fifth dimension is big picture stuff. So again, I want you to feel into not thinking but receiving the information, because you already know this. And going more into, okay, so if I'm in anger, I can either be angry or not angry. And then realizing in the fifth dimensional level of choice that anger is just a human experience to show me where I'm out of alignment with myself. I don't know, that's just come up. I'll go through some of these and give you some examples of fifth dimensional level of consciousness. For me, for example, I didn't get the house that I wanted yesterday. Shifted into fourth dimension. I was also then just told that the needing and wanting had to go, and the needing and wanting put pressure and anxiety on the process of having the house. And shifting then into fifth dimensional reality, it was never ours in the first place. And that this was actually the universe just showing it, saying, you know, is this kind of the thing that you want? Because we've got other things lined up for you. And that this was not the one, this was the path. Fifth dimension is always about the path, about the journey, and not about the thing itself. As soon as you shift into fifth, you realize that the thing is stuck within the third dimensional reality was never the thing to begin with. It was always the vehicle to the experience. And as you shift out of that into fifth dimensional level of consciousness, you actually then realize, and you can do something about that, because you realize what it's really about. I don't know about you, but when you shift into fifth dimensional level of consciousness, that is that infinite capacity to see things as they are and to open your mind as to what is possible. Weight, for example, was something that I love how I said was something I was working on. Strange, right? Because I've already shifted into fifth dimensional level of consciousness around that. So third is like being overweight. Fourth is being, well, I can either be overweight or not overweight. Fifth is saying, again, it's not about the weight. And what it was for me was disconnection from the universe and about myself being part of the universe, and that, you know, it's all representative of something. And so as soon as I connect to myself as being part of the universe, then there is no concept of weight. And that is becoming a reality really quickly. Okay, so fifth dimension, standing in your truth. And Delana, can I also say standing in your truth is actually a fourth dimensional reality, because when you shift to fifth, you are already in your truth. Can I just say that? You are already in your truth. So you don't have to do anything. And again, that's the fifth dimensional reality is being. The fourth dimensional is doing. And the third dimensional, you know, that's just, I don't even want to play there. But so when you shift to fifth dimensional, fifth dimensional is you are already what you want to be. So I'm already in my truth. I don't even need to stand in it. I already am truth. Everything is working out for me. Absolutely. I have access to everything I need. Are we on the right path? Well, this is the path. So and honouring the path that this is where you're at. So I have access to everything I need. Well, I don't actually need anything because I already have everything. So anyway, it's just fun to play in fifth dimensional reality. You realize that everything you ever wanted is already exists, that you already have it. And I don't know if you can feel that as you shift into a fifth dimensional level of reality and consciousness, is that it brings you into the current moment. So there is no future or past, again, which is true because they don't exist. So playing in fifth dimensional level of consciousness is so much fun because it just brings you back to what is actually true and then creates that reality. So does anyone else want to share some of their fifth dimensional levels of consciousness or awareness or whatever, so that I can kind of play around in that energy? The truth for me is that I feel like a failure. That's why I'm angry. So let's just say that's a third dimensional reality. Oh God, you guys must be shifting something because I'm burping like crazy here. Third dimensional reality is failure. Fourth dimensional, I'm just going to write this down. Fourth dimensional reality is that I'm either failing or not failing, which then goes into fifth dimensional level of consciousness, which is that you can't fail because there is no concept of failure. Failure does not actually exist, only learning. Sarah, can you just connect into the fact that you are only learning? And you know what, I don't know, once we shift into learning, and learning is a beautiful concept in the fifth dimensional level of consciousness because it opens your expansiveness to receive what else you need to know around anything, because you're open to learn more. When you think that you know everything, that's third dimension, honestly. You can never know everything. And again, that gets rid of pressure. Like, think about how much pressure we put on ourselves to know everything. It doesn't exist. Like, we are here, we're students of life, and we are here to learn. So you can't fail when you're learning. It's like a baby who gets up and falls down every 5 seconds when they're walking. They're not failing, they're just learning. So Sarah, treat yourself like that little baby that's just learning to walk. You can't fail. It's just learning. So that's a question about my 5D. Oh, awesome, Delena. Everything is happening as the universe has planned for me. Oh, and you plan for yourself. Well, you are the universe, so you plan everything. All I need to feel the faith and let go of resistance. Again, I've always got a place for resistance, and Vidya, I'm actually glad you brought up resistance, is because resistance actually shows us where we're out of alignment. So don't let go of resistance. I like you to play in resistance and say, what is the resistance showing me? Because resistance can actually show you, again, where you're out of alignment with who you really are. So what am I resisting? And go more into the different layers about what you're resisting. I want to get an example of resistance. Resistance always brings up control, so you don't have control. Again, you have complete control, and this is fifth dimensional level of consciousness. You always have control because you planned it. You planned it all. So this is where you can let go because you actually planned this experience. So keep sharing your fifth dimensional consciousness, and just know that, you know, everything already exists in this current moment. Everything you ever wanted or needed already exists, and it's a concept or perception that it doesn't. Again, we're all one with the universe and with each other. How others treat us is always a reflection of ourselves. Our experiences are all reflections of ourselves. Last night I was really aware of a lot of my thoughts throughout the evening. It was interesting, peaceful awareness. And that's what we're doing in the Divinely Guided group as well, which is so cool. I'm just going to try and see if I can read the rest of that, Tamara, because I'm just on my phone. No expectations. Well, expectations is future-based. So again, you can't go into expectation. Stepping away from expectations, caring for yourself and others, knowing that you're all reflections of each other's, and just be in the moment, stepping away from situations I'm not happy about. I'm actually, can I say something about that? Situations that you're not happy about are always, again, showing you something about yourself. So as soon as you go into what they're showing you, the situations melt away. They just go. So that's where I'm not into boundaries or anything like that, because use those situations to show something about yourself, and then they naturally disappear. Tracy, if that makes sense. If it doesn't make sense, let me know. Because you guys are typing it quite a bit, I'm actually not getting all the whole comment. So Tamara, as I was going to sleep and thinking about what you said about letting go of meanings, I was thinking, okay, I can let go of the bad meaning. Again, bad meanings is a meaning, and we've got to let go of all the meanings. Yeah. Do I have to let go of good meanings? And a harder time with that was helping to reframe the good and the bad into love, and everything just is. Absolutely true. Michelle, I want to bring up yours, but it's actually not letting me see. So weight, stuck, energy, clarity, focus, connection, and awareness. I might have to do a refresh and see if I can get the rest of what you're saying there. Who's having fun? I'm having so much fun. That's why I get up at 5 o'clock on a Saturday morning to talk to everyone. And thank you for all my friends who actually live near me who got up with me as well. Sorry, Michelle, I can't read the rest of that. Vijay, yes, it's true. I also learned it's the way for me to know that there's another aspect of this issue and I need to think about it. Absolutely. There's always other aspects, and everything's around perception. So at the end of the day, I was driving yesterday and I was so upset about losing this house. And then I went into, well, that is me putting meaning on it being bad. As soon as I had that awareness that I made us not getting the house bad, oh my God, that was a massive shift in itself of going, I made that bad, instead of trusting that it was part of the process. So do that with everything. Like, stop putting meaning on stuff, and things are just as they are, and look at what they're showing you about yourself. Again, coming back to this concept, anything, and this is, Tracy, this is what I want you to use, is that whatever situation comes into your awareness, it's always a match for you somehow. So this is where you can use them. And this is where I don't put boundaries up. Don't put boundaries up to these situations. Literally let them show you what they are meant to be showing you, and they just disappear. It's actually crazy good to play in that energy. And also to play around with all these different concepts. So I want you to keep working on this, and share a little bit more about your fifth dimensional level of consciousness, and how you're actually going to be, how you can shift more into that expansiveness. The other thing I wanted to share quickly is when you're moving through these third and fourth and fifth dimensional realities, it is quite easy to shift into them quickly. But if you've actually got baggage, not only from this life but past life and things like that, from these third dimensional realities, which is what a lot of us have actually had in other past lives as well, it's actually difficult to ascend into fully owning this new level of consciousness. And the other day on the beach, what happened is I was actually shown how we can letting go and allow the guided, Gail, you've got it, letting go, and with everything, letting go and be guided, and trusting and having faith on it, on all of that. So I just want to share what I got at the beach the other day, and I'm just going to bring that up with playing in these different, sorry, I've made you go all wonky now, playing in these different levels of ascension. So I've kind of broke it down into, again, 3 different levels, and it's like, so the first level is life, and this is where my rebrandings come in, is that in our first step in ascension is this third dimensional reality, and it is our life, like on the planet. So what you think, so these are things that I got. So what you think is true isn't true at all. Hurts, pain, traumas, past and present. Beliefs not aligned with who you are. This third dimension. Learnings from family, school, society that aren't your truth. Physical and emotional blocks. Patterns and behaviours that just don't feel good. Meanings attached to bad, wrong and judgment. Ancestral lineage and past life. Fifth dimension is fearless and doubtless and full of trust. Loving it. Okay, third dimension. I am, you are, we are. everything. Coping mechanisms. Oh my God, coping mechanisms we've been taught that no longer serve us and are actually holding us back. Emotions and dealing with emotions. To be honest, I still play in that energy. It still can drag you down. It's really cool to have the tools to move out of it. Dealing with others in your life who you have life contracts with. I'm so proud of you, Vidya. That's just beautiful. And then physical symptoms of ascension. Our bodies are physically shifting from third dimensional reality into fourth and fifth. It's just vibration shifts, and everyone has different experiences when their bodies are vibrating or shifting from vibrating third dimensional reality vibration and frequency into fourth and fifth. So we do have those physical things to deal with, and then again life tools. And I do love using universal mindset and infinite wisdom, especially when we're shifting from third to fourth to fifth. So what I just talked about was all the third dimensional stuff, which you can't really move forward into fifth dimension until you get these third dimensional realities dealt with, which is all the belief systems and the patterns and the blocks and everything else. It's all possible. Thank you. I can't take all the credit, but I'm happy to be the vehicle to being that. So thank you, Vidya. So this is what I'm explaining. This is what I received, is that I'm going to be working with 5 people in the next 6 months, and shifting from third to fifth, fourth to fifth, like infinitely. Third dimension. So in the first 2 months of working together every week, it's all about past traumas, the learnings, the belief patterns, and the patterns, the blocks, past life and lineage, physical anxiety and emotions, physical symptoms of ascension, all that sort of thing. That's what I'm going to be working with in the first 2 months. And then the next 2 months, it's the fourth dimension, which I call the spiritual you. This is when we start shifting. I don't know about you guys, but when you shift into fourth dimensional level of choice, you're actually shifting into your spiritual you or your spiritual self. So when we do that, we want to be open, and this is what I teach in this ascension process in the next 6 months, is you want to be open to the messages and signs that are available to you, learning to listen to the divine guidance that are available to all of us, trusting and acting on the guidance that we're given. Just had someone come and visit me. I can't do anything about it. Hi, John. Want to say hi to everyone? I'm doing this and I'm focusing, so can you give me 5 minutes? So this is a third dimensional reality. I have to fix this. And I will... Is anyone else awake to help you? Can I do it in 5 minutes? I can't do it now because I'm doing this. John, you know you've got actually like 13 people watching you right now. I'm not talking just to myself. Okay. I'm just going to say this because this was really important. So I was standing on the edge of the beach when all this information came through. So for the next 2 months, messages and signs like being divinely guided, and acting. Like, how do we act on the guidance that we're given? We're already perfect and everything is already perfect. Control is killing us. Needs, shoulds, wants, have tos. I was told in the early days that this is pretty much what we need to clear and get rid of. Mirrors, so using our life experiences and the people that come into our life to show us what's inside of us, because I don't know about you guys, but that's the only way I can work out what I'm missing in here, and how I can shift into the infinite capacity. How to change others and our own external realities, vibration, frequency and measurement, and then also that the child within. So there's actually a lot of connection with ourselves as you know, not adults, but actually as children and as complete humans. how to deal with and feel the use of energy, dealing with heavy or negative energies, especially if you're empathic. Shifting into fifth dimensional level of consciousness actually eliminates the concept of negative energy or taking on other people's energy. So we don't actually need to go down the protection path. We don't need to protect our energy, because we technically, there is nothing to protect us from, because we are all one. And even when I'm working with heavy negative energies, I see them as source energy just like us. They've just got different characteristics, very similar to when I'm, in this room, and then external, like outside of this room, there's different air to this air, but it's the same air. They've just got different characteristics. And this is how I choose to deal with everything. So playing around with all those mindset concepts and consciousness is really cool. So dealing with empathic and how to stop picking up other people's stuff is really quite powerful, I think, for a lot of people at the moment. How you can do that not through protection. We don't need to protect ourselves from ourselves, because we're all one. And then protecting yourself, so the 3D is not required there, and connections with self, others, and the universe. And then the following two months of that 6 months is the universal you. So how you're at one with the universe, the universal concepts and who you really are, acknowledgement, awareness and observation, the power of now and how to stay here. Who's got that issue? Oh, no, it's not an issue. It's a choice. See, even then you just say, but that's a choice to not be in the present moment. Again, it shifts you out of that being stuck. Acknowledgement, awareness and observation, manifesting, perceptions, existence, oneness, resistance and allowing, moving forward, and case studies on how to deal with bad situations through universal mindset, characteristics of highly evolved beings. That was actually one of the biggest influences, especially through conversations with God, and really looking into highly evolved beings. And again, they use the concept highly evolved beings from a third dimensional reality, because that is the only way they can describe them. But as we shift into who are highly evolved beings, what we actually know is that they are all reflective of us and we are them, and channeling that information, which is why I can channel any kind of energy and information. We actually aren't from here. We're only visitors here, and the big concept around that. Ownership is a myth. We actually don't own anything. We don't even own these bodies. We're just hiring them out. What happens when we die? I love playing in that energy and going to that place where we choose these lives. Consciousness, how to shift from one level to another through thought. Well, we've just done that exercise, which I'm very excited to do with you. Quantum physics and truth, time, past, present, future, your soul, and where you are in the universe and how it exists, and then the different dimensions and playing in them. I'm going to keep reading above. Telepathy, unlimited pathways, future of the planet and changing the world. These are just things that I'm working on in the next 6 months with 5 people who want to come and join me. And what we've done today is just one exercise which becomes our everyday life. So I want you guys to keep using this. Has anyone got any questions or anything that they are still feeling like they're stuck on? Use me while you've got me right now, because then I can help you to shift more into that level of consciousness that will shift you out of that third dimensional stuck. And again, I want you to pop me a message if you want to work on clearing the complete third dimensional realities, literally clearing it physically, emotionally, spiritually, connecting to ourselves through choice as spiritual beings, and then connecting to ourselves with the universe. And as you might see, my branding and everything that I do now is all about life, third dimensional, spirituality, which is fourth dimensional, and the universe, which is fifth. And I'm just, I don't know about you guys, who is loving playing in this universal energy, because this is crazy good, and I just love these concepts. I'm being thrown money, like money's just coming at me. It's being thrown at me like that's $1 million note, by the way. This is just showing how easy things are. What is happening when people are seeing me very powerful and avoid to meet me? Vidya, I just say that they're not aligned. So they're not actually avoiding you. You just aren't aligned with them anymore. Again, this concept, they just they're okay. There's so many other people that, and again, there's no right or wrong, good or bad. They're just experiences, especially when you make a choice to be with people who are of similar mindset. I mean, you can't really escape it until you see that. But if people are coming into your awareness and they are coming into your vibration, use them. I say use them as a tool to say there's something in me that's attracting them. Looking into them as being the vehicle to bringing up something for you. And as soon as you do that, and the great thing about moving from third to fifth dimension is literally that. So I want not to meet them, but I can't avoid them. Well, again, what you resist persists, so they'll always stay there. So you don't need to avoid anything. You need to use them as a tool. So, Vidya, what I would do is actually spend some time focusing on the vehicle, them being the vehicle and the messenger, the divine messenger, the opportunity. Oh, thanks, Matt. So literally use them as a tool. It's funny, just use them as a tool to bring something up in you, because looking at why you're wanting to avoid them, why, you know, all those sorts of things. I mean, again, this is what I work on in this process is, and I love doing this. This is like every week I get to work with these people for 6 months, where we look at every experience that's come into their reality, and it can be absolutely anything that comes into the reality of each day. Is showing us something about ourselves. Oh, I love you. So there's always something showing us about ourselves. Thanks, Delana. That's so beautiful. Just use people. I don't say you need to consciously move away from them. It's like I'm not really into boundaries, because when you put boundaries up, it's actually stopping you from learning from what you're being shown, and you can always, once you learn what you need to know from that thing, and then you learn more about yourself and use these things as vehicles, that it's not about them, it's about you. They can't come into your frequency and vibration if they're not a match. They're a match somehow. So use them, and even use, like, sometimes we can go, oh, so there must be something wrong with me. That's third dimensional thinking. It's like, well, no, they're just a vehicle to show you something about yourself. So I could ramble about this all day because I just love it. But at the end of the day, play around with all these different energies. You will automatically shift from third to fourth to fifth simply through consciousness and awareness. That's what consciousnness is. As soon as you shift from stuck to choice, I can stop saying, and I'm just living in the present. Just beautiful. I love witnessing all of this. Love witnessing you guys. I love witnessing the connection to yourselves as, really complete universal beings. Is, to me, that's actually why I do this, because it's just so beautiful to watch. So thank you for being here. Thank you for sharing with me your experiences. If you've got any questions, please pop them below. And if you want to join me for the 6 months of clearing in third dimension, reconnecting a spiritual self in fourth, and then living universally, I would love to have you come and join me. And I'd love to see you every week for 6 months, and we can play together, using your life as a case study, which is so much fun. So thanks for joining me, guys, and I hope that you enjoyed this as much as I did. Love you guys. Beautiful. And please share with me your experiences below, and I will, of course, speak to you guys soon, because you can't shut me up. Mwah. Love you. Bye.